And it's 2 o'clock. Well, it's 2 o'clock on my clock. That's Eastern time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on time. We'll just give everyone else a moment or two to get through all the clicks and get their technology working so they can join us as well. I see quite a few people streaming in, so we'll just hang on a few more moments. Thank you again for everyone who has joined us on time. Okay, quite a few new people have just joined us, so let's begin. Hello and welcome to our webinar today. This is the fourth webinar of our free membership growth online summit 2018. Every day this week at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, a top expert is going to join us to share the strategies used by successful organizations to grow and keep growing, especially in today's world where it seems harder than ever to get anyone's attention. So, welcome to day 4. This afternoon, Amy Jacobus joins us. Amy is the founder of Amy Jacobus Marketing. She is a well-known digital marketing expert who works with nonprofits, helping them grow. We'll bring Amy on shortly, but in the meantime, let me introduce myself. My name is Sonia Kosla, and I'm on the Wild Apricot content team. Beside me are my colleagues Rano and Donald. And by the way, if you're confused by that picture of Rano, as I was, apparently that is playing his favorite sport, bubble soccer, which he swears is a lot of fun. But right now, he's doing his second favorite thing, which is helping you. So please, if you have any questions for us or Amy, just ask Rano. And to do that, you can use the chat box. I want to just make a couple of quick reminders before moving on. So first, I want to let you know that we are recording this webinar and the other summit webinars this week, and we'll be sending you an email with a link to the recordings next week. So keep an eye out for that. I also want to let you know that by attending today, you are eligible to earn 1 CAE credit. Okay. So we'll get going in just another couple of minutes, but let me briefly say that today's webinar is being brought to you by Wild Apricot. For those of you who have been with us for the last couple of days, just bear with me here while I introduce Wild Apricot to anyone new joining us. For those of you who don't know, Wild Apricot is membership management software. It's actually an all-in-one solution for anyone running a membership organization, and that's because you can manage your member and contact database, run your events, build your website, process all your payments, and so on. Many of our customers consider it a lifesaver because it saves them hours a day in administrative tasks, freeing them up to focus on fulfilling their organization's mission. And we're quite thrilled with what many of our customers have been able to accomplish. We've watched many of them grow since we started 12 years ago, and they've watched us grow too. And thanks to our customers, we've been ranked as the #1 rated membership management software solution on the market 7 times in a row. And while we pride ourselves on helping people with great software, we're also a leading provider of free educational content, which you'll find on our blog and in webinars like today's. Now, if you have any questions about Wild Apricot, we're happy to answer them at the end of the webinar. So you're all free to stick around with us after the hour, if you're able. Okay, now let me introduce Amy. As mentioned earlier, Amy Jacobus is the founder of Amy Jacobus Marketing, which helps nonprofits grow their membership base. One of the big reasons we brought Amy on today is because she understands the challenges that come with small staffs, limited budgets, and time constraints. So she's here today to give you practical ideas that you can put into action right away to grow your organization. You can check out her website. Rena will paste the link to it in the chat box. On her website, you'll find lots of online classes and workshops on digital marketing. So I encourage you to check them out when you get a chance. Okay, so Amy, the floor is yours and take it away.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today. Let me just grab the reins here for my presentation. Here we are. So I hope everyone can see what I'm offering today. I want to teach 5 things every digital marketing plan should have. There are 5 key things that I include in all of my planning for all of my clients. And I want to talk a little bit about the 3 steps of how to create a plan from these 5 things that you can actually handle. So what Sonia said is exactly right. I work with a lot of organizations.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just want
Oh,
to let you
sure.
know we can't see your slides. So if you could just share your screen with us.
I do have it shared.
Perfect. Perfect. There we go. Now we can see it.
It's
All good.
there. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, now I can't see my slides. This worked so well when we were doing it together.
Okay,
Sorry,
let's
all
see. No problem. Let
bear
me
with me
see
for
if I
just a
can.
moment. Are we back?
Yes, I can see it now. All good. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. It's always the tech things that you practice the most that break on you right when you have an audience, right? So thanks for bearing with me. As I said, I want to talk about 5 key things every digital marketing plan should have and talk about really how to create a plan you can actually handle, right? So what we're learning today is number 1, the single most important foundation in any marketing plan. It's often a step that my clients who have limited time, limited staff skip over, but it's so important. So we're going to go over that. We're also going to learn how to streamline your communications to stay on mission. So what my number 1 trick is for building a plan that actually keeps me focused, and how to turn a calendar of company activity into that marketing action plan. So all of the things that you're actually doing as a company and putting out into the world, how do you create a marketing plan from that thing? As Sonia said, what I do is I teach small business owners, artists, and nonprofits to build digital marketing systems that help them grow and don't stress them out. And the stress them out part is very important to me. I know that we all have limited time. Probably a lot of you are wearing multiple hats in your business. So you might be in charge of marketing and fundraising or membership and marketing, and you're trying to do many, many things. So I want to create systems of how everything you're putting out in terms of communication, especially online, connect together so that they all make sense in one structure and don't feel like a burden. Now, the number 1 piece of that system is a clear understanding of your audience. It's really the foundation that everything is built upon. So identifying and speaking directly to a clear target audience is the essential step in building your marketing campaigns. It's one that a lot of people, like I said, overlook because they're hoping to reach everyone with their messaging. And I'm going to talk a bit about this because it's really important to me that you understand why reaching out to everyone is the wrong tactic to take. Now, I have a lot of arts clients in the arts space, and they come to me with the belief that I don't want to pinpoint a specific target audience, Amy. Everyone needs the arts. And I am a dancer, a trained dancer, as well as a marketer. And I agree. Everyone needs the arts. It makes us human. It inspires us. I 1,000% agree with that statement. But the reality is, not everyone needs the art that they're providing. So if I go to the MoMA, which this is a picture of here in New York City where I live, I may stand here like this woman and stare at a Mark Rothko painting for an hour because I love the color, I love the texture, I like the overlap of things, and I really enjoy it. And my partner Ben will walk right past. It doesn't speak to him, and that's okay. So you're looking for the people who actually connect with what you do, even if you think everyone should. And another example of this is that people come to me, nonprofit clients, and say, everyone benefits from my program. It literally creates ripples into the world and helps the world become a better place. And I completely believe them. But there is a select group that benefits the most from their program, the most from their what they offer. And those are the people that you want to be speaking to. So please stop thinking about everyone whenever you send out a message. You must know who you're trying to reach and who you're already talking to. And this is the most important part of your marketing. And it's often what makes you feel kind of cringy and terrified. And narrowing that audience just feels like completely wrong for reaching and creating the impact that you want to do. But it really is the foundation that helps you build a network of people who become your advocates who care the most. I believe so much about this that my team and I built this workbook called Find Your Forever Fans. You can download it at amyjacobus.marketing. I'm just plopping this up here. I'll remind you again at the end. I really think it's important that you seriously think about who your audience is. It's only then that you're going to reach your goals. Now, if you fill out this workbook, if you do the work to really think about who you should be talking to, in addition to kind of the demographics we all know so well, right? The age of the perfect member, their income level, geographic location, gender, you should also be discovering and uncovering what they do. So maybe their professional lives, and also what they do outside of their professional lives, where they go to brunch, right? Their challenges, what they are fearful of day to day, or what they're really working to overcome, what they value, what is their mission? How does that align with yours? And their interests, right? Their hobbies and other brands that they engage with and other companies that they engage with. I also encourage all of you, in addition to really looking at who you're speaking to look at who you're already talking to successfully, right? Interview your best and most devoted members and patrons. It might not be very often that you talk to them one-on-one, but if you take time to interview a handful of people who already love you, you can find out how they discovered your organization. You can see if you can place more ads in that space or show up more in that arena so that more people like them discover you. You can ask what they love about you, what they find unique about your programs and what you offer in comparison to other like organizations. And you can also ask what other organizations do they love? What brands do they love and why? Because that will give you a lot of information about what they care about in a company. You'll start to identify some patterns from these conversations with your already perfect members, right? What words and descriptions showed up in multiple interviews? Was there a certain unique identifying feature about your company that stands out to many of them? And are people finding out about you in the same way? What's coming up over and over? Now, this is a word cloud that one of my clients created after doing this exercise with words that came up in all of their conversations with their current supporters. And you can see the bigger the word, the more often it came up in conversation. And so they start to get a really visual sense of, hey, people think we're fun. People think we're dynamic. This is a dance and theater arts company. People think we're athletic and powerful and creative and bold. So they can start using those words in their own marketing. It's like a cheat tool, right? Now they can speak their audience's language. And they can also see what's not there that maybe should be. So they have a really strong multidisciplinary work. And they want people to know that they bring dance and magic and theater and so many different disciplines together. And it doesn't seem to come up in conversations. So now they can talk more about that. They can educate their audience to know that that's really an important part of what they offer. Because your already perfect fans are your biggest supporters, they're the best indicators of what you're doing right and what you're missing. So you've started to build not only an understanding of your best fit audience, but you also now know how to better connect with them. You can use their language, their wording. The number two thing that you need in any digital marketing campaign is a website that's easy to use and inspires action. And I know that a lot of you probably are using what you've been given, what you've been handed, the website that existed when you entered the organization. And maybe you don't have the funds to do a complete overhaul or redesign, and that's okay, because there are ways that we can just do a few tweaks to make sure that the pages that you're sending people to are easy to use and compelling. You can build an effective website if you are user focused. A lot of nonprofits, arts organizations, membership organizations that I work with build websites that actually just support their internal hierarchy. So any kind of program language or staff structure shows up as the main menu or navigation of the site. And it really doesn't speak to the actual user of the site, the person who doesn't know your internal workings and just wants to know like what you offer them. And I think this comes from a lack of understanding of the audience, what drives them, what they need to know, how to persuade them to engage with you. And so really, if you want to get a more effective website, you have to start answering the key questions that these people want. You have to put yourself in the user's shoes. So your website should answer how what you offer matches up with what they need and desire and want from you, and how who you are is the best option for them. So not just who you are, what you do, but why you stand out and are unique and should be their choice. You can start tapping into those challenges that you solve for your intended audience when you talk about that audience that is the ideal member for you. You can start to really think about, okay, this challenges them. This is a fear they have. Maybe it's a fear of missing out on a cool new event in your city or a cultural experience, or maybe it's that they want a cause to feel a part of, a membership they can wear as a badge of honor. How can you speak to them on your website to show them that you can be that for them? And it shouldn't come as a surprise, but you should continually showcase why they should trust you, right? Why you're the best at what you do. And that could be through testimonials or positioning your team as experts in the field. But again, most of all, you need to make sure you're looking at the website from their perspective, from the people who actually visit you. How does it persuade and lead them to get from point A to point B? Is it compelling? Is it easy? Without this perspective, every online campaign will suffer because they'll get to your home base, your website, and they won't know what to do. And a lot of websites hit the mark when it comes to being informative, telling what it is that you do, but not a lot of them tell why someone should care. And if you can be the organization that tells them why they should care, that's going to be huge. That makes you stand out. Now, I'm working right now with a summer camp for girls, and we're redoing their website. And right now, it just is a bit lackluster. When you end up on the page, you don't really know what exactly this company is or does. You see the word camp, but there's not a lot of clarity around it. And you can see that it has kind of like a homemade DIY feel, but you don't really get a lot of information other than that. And what we're finding is that when thinking about the audience, the moms and dads who are looking for a place to send their daughters, we need to show them that it's a safe, fun space to drop off their daughters in the summer. So we need to show them happy kids who are supervised by great adults and having a good time. We need to show them fun. We need to show that it's a really great opportunity for girls to make things and build confidence and have a good time. We need to show testimonials from past camper families. We can show videos of the camp experience. And this is, words from the girl who participated in camp herself. It is 13 times more effective and more important what others say about your organization than what you say about your organization. So if you can build trust through testimonials and other stories, that will be huge for you. And we can show them the cool projects we make, right? So we can actually show what girls would be doing in camp so that there's a bit more detail. The third thing that you need in any digital marketing campaign is compelling copy and content. Copywriting is a huge aspect of your work in marketing. It's a key ingredient in all the things, right? It's on your website. It's both public facing and in any of your search engine optimization efforts, putting in those keywords so people find you through Google. It's in your email marketing, especially subject lines, right? We need to test and experiment with subject lines any chance we get so we could get more people to open our emails. It's in paid advertising on Google, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, everywhere you show up. It's in descriptions on your videos. So even video content requires some copy in a title or description. The list goes on and on. And good copywriting goes beyond good grammar, especially online. Online, you need your copywriting to be compelling and actionable if you're going to attract the audience and attention you deserve. You need to be realistic about what people will actually read. So I found this on HubSpot a while back, and I wonder if it's actually gotten worse since then, since I found it originally. But only 16% of people online read word by word. Pretty much everyone is a scanner. They pick the text that is valuable to them, and that's what they read. You can see here I highlighted just like 2 snippets of this. You pretty much get the gist, right, out of those 2 snippets from this large paragraph. And I doubt that most of you, when you were looking at the slide, read the full thing. It's just how we engage with content now. So you can write for the scanners. You can make it easy on them. You can use bullet point lists. You can keep sentences short. You can use styling for emphasis, either header styles or going bold or italics. Don't overdo it, but use the emphasis where needed. And wherever possible, ditch the copy altogether and use other storytelling techniques instead. So at the beginning of this, I said copy and content, right? And that was strategic because words don't always get everyone's attention. People are not reading everything you write. Video is queen of the internet. Video is the most widely shared. It gets the longest attention span. And if it's live on Facebook or Instagram, at least at this moment in time, it gets pushed to the forefront even more because they want people to be using those live connection points and that way of really engaging with their followers, right? So anywhere you can include video, and that doesn't have to be highly produced. It can be you showing up and explaining an event or a program to your people on Facebook, just face to camera, right? But anywhere you can use other beautiful content, compelling content instead of copy, you should be thinking of that as well. Now, this is my favorite part of marketing, and it's often the part that everyone doesn't want to do, but it's so important. So number 4, a key piece of any successful marketing campaign is writing emails people actually want to open. And I'm going to show you a gem from genius marketer Seth Godin. I think he has a new book coming out, actually. If you don't follow Seth Godin, you should, because he is smart and warm and really, really smart. The term permission marketing was coined by Seth Godin, and it really came to be because traditional advertising used to interrupt your day, right? It used to be commercials on TV that would interrupt your programming or ads in a magazine that you would have to flip past in order to keep reading your story. It was all about diverting your attention from what you were actually doing and then gaining your interest, right? And it was hard to do, and it was kind of obnoxious. And now we've moved into this digital space where we can get people's permission to talk to them, but it really doesn't matter if we're not keeping their interest, right? So permission marketing is anticipated, personal, and relevant messages delivered to people who actually want to get them. And I think there are really important ways that we can think about email marketing in particular to achieve this anticipated, personal, and relevant status. What can make email anticipated, personal, and relevant? It doesn't just mean that your email says, Dear Amy, although, yes, you can merge first names into your email list and it will make me feel a little bit more heard and seen and good, and you should do that. But to be anticipated, you should be expected, right? So if you just think about how you online shop, customers should receive an order confirmation if they purchase something from you, right? Donors should receive a thank you if they support your program. And if you're not sending donor thank yous, that's a whole other problem. Please, please, please thank your people for everything that they do for you. But everyone should also have a kind of a clearer idea of what to expect when they sign up for your email list. So if they haven't engaged with you yet on a deeper level, but they have given you their contact information, please tell them what to expect by giving that to you. We all have a ton of stuff in our inboxes. We want to know why we care about you showing up in our inboxes. To make it personal, you can segment your lists. And there's so many ways we can do this, right? But like we can segment by interest. We can segment by how they got on your list in the first place. I have an example of this in my own business. I have 2 ways that you can sign up for my email list on my website. One is a social media quiz about matching you with like your best fit social media platform. And in that case, I'm going to give you social media information because I can tell that you're interested in that by showing up in that part of my list. And another is this Forever Fans worksheet that I have that I think helps you really find that strong foundation of your marketing. And in that case, I know that you're interested in defining your audience. I can feed you more content about audience matching, right? You can segment by email behavior. So the people who never open things can get different subject lines that might actually entice them to open. The people who purchase stuff from you, those different things that they purchase could spark different ways that you email them. There's so many opportunities here to make it more personal. And this also creates relevancy. It relates to their interests, right? If someone subscribes to a newsletter for a fine art museum, it's going to be really hard for you to send them an email about hashtag National Hot Dog Day and make it relevant and make it make sense. And maybe you can, and that's awesome, and you'll get some laughs and some information and some, delight from your audience. But you now know your target audience after doing these exercises and really thinking about who they are. Show them that you get it. Show them you know why they're here in the first place. I go to this one ballet event every year, and the company that puts it on only sends me email related to that event or events like it. They do not send me classical pieces. They send me contemporary ones because they know that that's what I like. Their fundraising even appeals to my sensibilities. They're not going to ask me to support a program that makes no sense given my past relationship with attending their programs that were totally different or separate from that. And now I'm going to stay on their email list forever because I'm only getting things that I actually care about, right? The final 5th key part of any digital campaign, of course, is social media. But it's not social media that's scattered and unfocused. It's social media that's strategic and connects. Social media done right builds community and goodwill towards you and your brand. It can serve as a landing page for your talent and your unique offers. I mean, just think if you Google your company's name, what comes up on that first page of results? Your website, but also your Facebook profile, your Instagram, your LinkedIn. All of those things have a lot of weight in the Google universe. And so someone may actually choose to look at your Instagram before they even look at your website. And they should have a sense of who you are and what you offer if they go there. Social media can be a huge driver of traffic and attention to your work, and it should be. You should be connecting social media to your website wherever possible. And it boosts your permission marketing efforts. So by reaching people who might want to know you, follow you, be interested in your stuff on social, you can also encourage them to join your email list so you can really reach them when it counts. There are obstacles with social media, right? And we all run up against them all the time. You don't have full control over social media like you do your email marketing, for example. Algorithms, the company values, the pay to play practices of advertising are always going to be obstacles. And this is why you shouldn't obsess over the time you spend here, but the connections you make between your social and your other activity, right? So don't get lost in just posting to post or posting to show up. Post with intention, bringing people to your other offerings, right? Bringing people to your website, bringing people to your email list. And say it out loud with me if you're home at your desk by yourself. I can't do everything. And that's okay. It's totally okay to not be able to be everywhere at once. So I want to talk a little bit about two things you should consider when you focus on like what social platforms will work best for your company and why you should kind of pare down where you show up and just spend more effort on just a handful. Where does your ideal client hang out most? That's the first question you should be asking, right? You now are going to know so much about your ideal audience. Now, how do they hang out online? Where are they showing up? Do you think that they're mostly on Instagram? Spend more time there. And then what is your best fit storytelling style? Like what do you do best that can fit on a specific platform? Because they all feel different to use, right? I mean, you feel it naturally, even personally, how you engage on social. So how do you best engage in community? Do you like creating videos? Are you an excellent photographer? Maybe you have a great photo team on staff. Are you a really strong writer? You're a great blogger and you make excellent articles. LinkedIn could be a great place for you for articles. Are you a natural speaker? Maybe you want to do more live video or more Facebook lives, YouTube, something of that nature where you can actually speak directly to your followers. So choose what actually fits your best storytelling style as an organization and matches with where your ideal members actually hang out, and start spending more focused effort there than being on every single platform and feeling spread thin. So to recap, the 5 key things in any digital marketing plan are things you're all doing, right? They're talking to an audience, but it's having a real deep understanding of that audience and being super specific about who they are. It's having an easy to use, persuasive website. It's something that compels people to action and speaks in their language. It's compelling and shareable copy and content. So it's not copy for copy's sake or copy for, your director's sake. It's copy that people actually want to read, and it's written in a way that they can scan and absorb. It's content that's really inspiring and compelling and interesting, so they want to engage with it. And it's personal, relevant, and anticipated email. It's not just e-blasts. It's really what people want to be reading and are expecting in their inbox from you. And it's social media that's strategic and community building, that connects with all of these other elements, that doesn't just exist to exist, but has a real plan behind it. And you can connect all these 5 things to build a marketing plan. If I were to guess, I would say a lot of you who are here feel like you're putting out fires rather than planning ahead, that you have too many things on your plate and there's just no way to get to it all. There are 2 reasons this could be happening. One is that you're giving permission to others to divert your attention, and this is a little more hippy-dippy therapist style, but you should set good boundaries so that you can focus on what is important, right? But I can help you with the second reason. You're not taking a long-term approach to your communications. So let's talk about making a marketing plan in just 3 easy steps, right? In step 1, we're going to make a list of everything you do throughout the year, all the seasonal, annual, and recurring events, the launches, the sales, everything you do. A dance company might have, for example, an annual gala, a fundraising appeal, 2 performance seasons, a world premiere, a dance intensive, and auditions. They go on summer vacation and they kind of don't do anything during that time. Daily company class and weekly master classes, right? You're starting to write down all the things that recur over and over again, or the big events that you know you need to market. From there, step 2, now that you have your long view calendar, everything that you need to actually promote, you break it up into distinct campaigns. And all of those campaigns, we just learned, require an audience, some web work, email marketing, social media, and copy and content. So if you have an annual gala, you need to think about your annual gala audience. Who are they? And what do they need on your website? Do they need a place to RSVP? Do they need a page that explains what the gala is and where the money goes to once you raise it? You need social media posts that pertain just to them and get them to that web page, get them the information they need to that event. You need copy and content that is about that event that's compelling to them. And you need email marketing to invite them and to collect RSVPs and to remind them the event is happening, send them directions, all of those things. So you're going to have a full set of to-dos for each task, right? Or each event. You'll have web pages to create, copy to write, emails to send, content to brainstorm and make, and social media to post on. But step number 3 is the important one. Now you're going to have this huge list of to-dos. Eliminate anything from the calendar that does not move you towards your goals. My trick to stay on mission through a year of communications and digital marketing efforts is that if I cannot see a connection between the item on my list and real dollars coming in the door or real audience members or members signing on with me, it's not important and I get rid of it. So really prioritize what you need to do. Maybe you have a grand plan to do like the best marketing campaign of all time. You're so excited about it, and there just isn't time to complete it because other things are a priority. Take that gut check to heart and go forward with the things that matter. You don't have to post on hashtag National Hot Dog Day. You don't have to be distracted by all the things that come up day to day that you think you should be a part of or the conversations you think you should show up to. So to recap, the single most important foundation in any marketing plan is a deep understanding of your ideal audience. You need to really get detailed about this in order to connect on like a real emotional, interested level. Number 2, how to streamline communications to stay on mission. It's easy. Just prioritize and eliminate. Look at everything you need to be doing and look at what's most important and fight to get rid of anything that shouldn't be there. And then how do you turn a calendar of company activity into a marketing action plan? You start with that activity. You map out all events into campaigns that include the 5 key elements: web, email, audience, social, and copy and content. And then again, get rid of anything that doesn't work. So just a reminder, go grab the free worksheet on my website so you can first define your ideal audience. I think this is a really helpful tool for people, and I will not be offended if you grab the worksheet and then ditch my email and unsubscribe. I just want you to have the resource. To let you know what to expect from my email list, I send 2 marketing tips per month. But I just want you to have this resource, right? To fill out this worksheet and start thinking more critically about your audience. And now I'm ready for taking any questions from you all. So I'm so glad that you showed up today. If you want to follow up later with questions to me specifically, I know there will be a space to do that on the Facebook page. You can also reach me at Instagram at Amy Jacobus, and my email here is here as well if you want to take that down and send me an email personally.
Great. Thank you so much, Amy. I have a few questions here for you. First one is, what if my company serves multiple distinct audiences?
Sure. So that's a huge one that I get all the time. And my answer to that is first think, what is the goal behind the communications that you want to send out in particular? So think about things in distinct campaigns, right? And if you have distinct audiences, they're probably interested in different parts of your organization. So one of the organizations I've worked with before in the past is called iMentor, and they are looking for students to become mentees in their program, to join up with a mentor. They can match them with a mentor and actually get them through a program that gets them ready for college and then helps them through their freshman year of college with some adult support outside of their own family unit. And the mentees are a very specific audience, right? They're teenagers in high school. They need to speak to them on a level that they will appreciate and understand. But they also need to recruit new mentors who are these adults who have had these life experiences already and are a little more mature and professional working adults. So they need to have two sets of communications when they're working to recruit each of those types of members. So you might have to like fill out the worksheet twice, think about those audiences twice, and interview people to get their opinions and how they view your organization so you could speak to each of them in the way that they want to. That's how you start like segmenting, making things more relevant to the correct audience.
Great. Next question is, how do you convince a nonprofit volunteer board to actually follow a good marketing planning process as you've laid out?
Ooh, juicy question. I would say the best way to convince any kind of board or executive leadership is to bring data to the table, right? So do some research into how a focused marketing campaign and effort can really bring a big return. There are so many resources out there that show the return on investment for digital marketing in particular. The investment you make can be just huge, huge returns on that that's measurable, right? Because online we can kind of track everyone's movements. And as creepy as that is, it really helps us as marketers figure out, okay, this ad copy is really working and we have, 40 new email signups. There's numbers that can be shared. So I would say whatever digital campaigns you've done in the past, really use the evidence that it worked to say, I need to invest more in this. We need to do more of these types of campaigns and just bring the data to the table. Show that you can make the money, that you can bring in more numbers through this work.
Great. Next, what is your experience with using audio content such as podcasts or shorter audio clips? Are people receptive to those channels?
That's a great question. I don't have a ton of personal experience using audio. I know that the podcasting audience is voracious and huge. And I think that if you have some really interesting topics to share in that way, it can be a great way to lead people into your group. But I will give the caveat that podcasts in particular have a little bit of friction for a user, right? So if you just think about how you consume podcasts, I often do not go to the podcast description and click on that link or any hyperlinks. It's hard. No one knows like who I am or what my email address. You're not collecting any information about that audience except for reviews and what they have to say about it. So I think finding the ways to connect whatever you're sending out into the world back to your email list, to getting people to really be part of your community is important. So if you have excellent audio content, you can get that interest from people. Just make sure it leads to the next step. Make sure it leads to an action.
Great. And do you have any suggestions on how using paid social media marketing like Google AdWords or LinkedIn campaigns?
Can you repeat that, Sonia?
Sure. Do you have any suggestions on using paid social media marketing like Google AdWords or LinkedIn campaigns?
Great. So one of my best pieces of advice for using paid campaigns is first uncovering how you will measure results. Because if you can't measure the return on your investment, it's not worth investing, right? Like if you spend $300 on a Facebook campaign and you have no idea what kind of money came back or what kind of growth in terms of your brand visibility came back because you can't track it, then it's not worth it to spend that money because you didn't learn anything and perhaps lost money in the process. So I always start with the question of how are we going to track results? Like what's the outcome that we want and how can we measure it? And I think then it comes to just experimenting in many different ways. There are so many surprising things about digital campaigns. Whenever I run one, I'll run the same ad with 6 different images in place, and I will be so sure that image number 1 is going to be the most clicked on and the most engaged with, and it will be image number 5, which I think is not compelling. So experiment, find ways to A/B test, but always, always, always measure all of your results. And that means that you can actually figure out what budget you should use.
Great. And what is an ideal number of social media posts to post per day or week? Is there too much or too little?
That's a great question. I get it a lot. Consistency is really important. Frequency is part of being consistent, right? Online, anywhere we are, in blogging on your site, but also in social media. If you don't show up regularly, people just don't remember you, right? But I don't think we have to go as crazy as we normally do posting online once a day, every day. I generally follow the anticipated, personalized, relevant rule with social media as well. So if you start to think about when do people expect to hear from me, and when does it make sense to post something? I know this is like way more vague than you want. Everyone wants the answer that it's like post once a day on Facebook, post once a day on Instagram, and once on Instagram stories every 3 days. Like there isn't a one size fits all answer, but it's maintaining consistency. So not only consistency in showing up regularly, but also in like your tone of voice and what kind of content you're sharing. And that regularity will start to bring in this just brand visibility, this uplift of people now expect to hear from you, know you're there. But I don't think we all need to bend over backwards and post something every single day on every platform because the algorithm just doesn't show it to everyone, right? We aren't being pushed to the forefront, particularly if we have business pages on these accounts. So we don't have to post as frequently as I think our bosses or our boards want us to. But as long as if we stay regularly in their presence, then I think that's fine. I hope that answers that question.
Great. And a few more here. What if my director insists we have a presence on more social media sites?
Ooh, I love this question. So I understand from one point of view that having a presence on different platforms is valuable. From like the tech nerd side of things, Google, like I said earlier in the presentation, it trusts these platforms, right? Google knows that a lot of users in the globe, like all over the world, use Facebook. So they're going to push a Facebook page when you're being Googled, your company name, up to the forefront of those results. And so having these pages starts to kind of stake your claim around the internet that you exist. And it helps people find you really easily. So I like to have and hold onto the handles that make sense for my company on multiple platforms. But I also like to say, for me personally, most people don't follow me on Twitter, and I've never once in my life gotten a job through Twitter ever through tweeting. So I know that it's just not my target audience, and people aren't hanging out there for me personally. So on my Twitter profile, I have Twitter, but I have pinned a tweet at the top of the platform that says, "Hey, I know you're on Twitter, but I really actually hang out most on Instagram. Come follow me there." And it links to my Instagram. So I like to use tricks like that to be like, okay, we have the space. If people find us through here, they have an avenue now to find our website, to find where we actually are active and spending time. And then I get the perks of being there, but also the time and energy to spend focused on just very specific platforms that are working for us.
Okay, great. And one more here. We posted the same ad on LinkedIn and Facebook, but we didn't get very many views and results from it. Any advice on how to tailor those campaigns?
Sure. So I think it could be a lot of things, right? LinkedIn and Facebook allow you to choose audience, like things about your audience. What the exercise of really digging deep into what your audience cares about, including other companies, other brands, other things that they do, helps with, is taking those opportunities to target people on digital ad spaces to the next level, right? So I have a wedding photographer client who wants obviously to reach engaged people in our area, New York, tri state area. And usually, because he has a certain, level of package pricing, we know the budget level of that couple as well. And so we have those demographics. But now we also understand our client really well, and we know that they shop at certain stores or follow certain arts organizations or are interested in certain nonprofits. And we can add to our Facebook audience profile that they also like Nordstrom. Like even stuff like that can help you pinpoint your person more. So it could be that you weren't exactly reaching your target audience at such a detailed level that hurt the performance of your ad. It can also be your copy and content. So taking into account, how do I speak and present my work to the audience in a compelling way? What is the most compelling reason that they should actually engage with me if I'm going to kind of interrupt their feed of information? So take a look at both of those things. You could experiment and actually, define your audience a little more and use the same exact copy and content with a little bit of money behind it, see what happens if it goes further. Or you could completely swap out the photo and copywriting and send it to the same audience and see if it goes further. And then you get a sense of like, oh, it must have been one or the other.
Great. And last one here. What about buying data? Have you ever purchased data to help target customers for your clients?
I have not. And it's mostly because I haven't found like a reputable source that I know their audience is exactly my target audience. Um, I would love to hear anyone else's, examples of this working for them. So if on Facebook you want to share with me a time that this worked or a time that it felt like a really good investment, I personally like to develop my idea about my audience solo and then, borrow what Facebook knows about my audience, what Google knows about my audience, and really do a behavior targeting route rather than purchasing data.
Great. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for all your questions. We don't have enough time to get through all of them, of course, but I'll share with you in a moment how we can continue the conversation. But for now, I just want to say thank you so much, Amy. That was great. I loved all the experiences and real world examples that you shared with us. That's awesome. And now, as I mentioned, we are going to share the recording with you in a follow-up email next week once all the webinars are completed. So be on the lookout for that. And now that we're coming to the end of the webinar, I want to quickly mention that if you're new to Wild Apricot or have questions for us, I'll cover some free resources and offers in just a moment. If you're already familiar with Wild Apricot, then I want to give you a heads up that our big annual in-person conference, PersonaFest 2019, will take place in Savannah, Georgia next April between the 7th and the 10th. It will be a wonderful chance to network with hundreds of fellow customers, industry experts, and leaders, and employees from Personify's family of companies, including Wild Apricot. You'll have access to tons of sessions on how to grow and market your organization, as well as sessions on how to get the most out of our software. We will share more details later, but I can tell you that as a registrant for this summit, you'll get a discount code that you can use. So again, be on the lookout for that email from us in a few weeks' time. Now, if you're anxious to continue the conversation about digital marketing, I encourage you to join our Facebook group. Rano is going to paste a link in now for anyone who wants to join. It's a great place to connect with your peers and our network of experts like Amy. Okay, so if you're new to Wild Apricot, I want to let you know that you can find more free educational content on our Academy page. Rano is going to paste the link in the chat, and this is where you can find more webinars, including recordings of all our past webinars. I also recommend you to take a look at the resources and content on our blog and articles because there's lots of helpful content there about growing your membership, running successful events, recruiting volunteers, and so on. All of that content is free. And lastly, if you're running a membership organization, whether that's a nonprofit, association, or a club, or any type of organization, you are welcome to try our software at no cost for 30 days. So feel free to take advantage of this opportunity, especially if you're looking for ways to automate a lot of the tasks that consume your life. Rano is going to paste the link in the chat window now, and you can just click on the link you see there, and you'll be taken to our website where you can enter your email, name, and organization's name, and you're ready to go with your free trial. Also, if you'd like to receive a call from one of our coaches, perhaps Rano, just type your phone number into the chat and I'll make sure one of them reaches out to you. Okay, if you have any questions about Wild Apricot and you're able to stick around for a few minutes, I'm going to pass the mic over to Rano, who can answer any questions you have, because we always get a lot of questions about our software whenever we do a webinar. So if you have any questions, please type them in the chat window now, and I'm going to pass the mic over to Rano.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, the team here. Sonia and Donald always great, puts up such great webinars and stuff. It's always so much fun attending, learning, and then later on having a conversation with you guys. Amy, your presentation was fantastic. I learned a bunch today. Even during the Q&A session, it was quite enlightening. There's quite a few questions about whether or not you guys are going to receive the recording and stuff. As Sonia mentioned, you're going to get it at the end of the week or maybe next week. You're going to receive all recordings for all the webinars. And there's also some questions coming in about the product. Keep sending them in. I'm going to try and go through as many of them as possible, try and combine some of them and maybe keep it relevant to the topic of the webinar itself. So with that, I'm going to jump in. One of the first ones that were asked was very interesting, actually. Susan has had asked, does Wild Apricot have the ability to do email list segmentation? And the short answer is yes. It's part of somewhat core functionality. There's detailed answers, of course. There's various ways of doing this. So without getting too in depth, I'm going to try and clarify um, certain concepts here. So while the Apricot, the system considers the database as one whole thing. So it's like all members are contacts, but all contacts are not members. So already there's a segmentation there. You are able to send out emails to all members if you like, or members of a specific level if you like. And when you're creating member groups being special interest groups made up of only members can be part of those groups, and you can have people from various levels in the same group as well. You can then use the same thing that I'm about to explain to you about the non-member contacts to create lists for those special interest groups as well. But you don't have to segment everybody into special interest groups. You may have non-member contacts in your database that you have as newsletter subscribers, or they want information on a specific thing. And just like Amy said, you can actually keep a tab of what exactly they're interested in. So to give you an idea, you can have a list of 1,000 people. Then you can have them subcategorized into interests, if you like. Then you can have them subcategorized into areas, location, favorite color, choice of food, etc., etc. And then you can create lists based on the combinations of those things. Maybe you want to send out, I don't know, some knowledge you gained about your favorite restaurant, which is a vegetarian restaurant in New York City. And you want to send this to only people who are in New York and who only people who are vegetarian. So you can easily create a list. And this list isn't really a list, it's not a stagnant list in Wild Apricot. If anybody joins up in your organization or gives you their email address to join in, and you have scheduled out an email to go out about this topic 2 weeks from now, in between this time, whoever joins who qualifies for this list is going to be dynamically added to that list. It's not really a list, it's like a saved search. It's actually what it's called in the backend. It's a saved search of people that you are emailing out to. It's an amazing tool. I mean, this is probably one of my, if not my most favorite tool, it is one of my most favorite tools, because that this one aspect of all apricot solves a lot of problems in a lot of different ways. So saved searches are advanced searches of a bunch of different criteria. You can put in qualifiers however you like. You can consider all the criteria or any other criteria, and then you can mix and match, and then you can save this search and use this search as a directory listing if you like, as an email list if you like. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So Susan, short answer was yes, and the long answer was all of the above. And this is why I wanted to answer it publicly so that people can gain from it as well. But thank you for asking that question. It's amazing. Um, I want to see how do have a multi-chapter site, please. We look to implement a multi-chapter for 31 networks across Europe. I mean, it really depends, Andre, on your specific needs. There are some things about multi-chapter situations that we can do, some things we can't, and some can be achieved with minor workarounds. And if depending on your available resources, you're able to build out really anything you like. So. Please get in touch with us. I'm gonna say this is probably not the best arena for this question because it's a very specific question. I'm gonna say get in touch with our pre-trial people, or just start a trial and talk to us, the coaches. We'll have a candid conversation with you and let you know if Wild Apricot's the right tool for you. We actually truly do believe that we need to have right fit people on the platform, because it does cost us resources to get in touch with you guys and get you nurtured and get you to a point where you can start a trial or even get onto the paid platform. But then if you leave in 2 to 3 months, it doesn't do us any good or you any good. So we actually have very honest, candid, one-on-one conversations with each and every one of you guys who are on a trial or even before trial, and we'll try to understand and give you the right advice. So if you're aware of a tool that will help you out, we will actually let you know what that tool is. Or maybe you don't even, maybe you need something smaller or bigger. We will have a conversation. Uh, Audrey says they're already paid customers and they want to extend. You know what? Give our tech support a call. You have access to unlimited tech support, so just give them a call. They're online right now, actually, between 9:30 and 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, and they'll be able to give you a better idea. It's you could possibly talk to. So I would say, you know what, best possible thing is for you to, even if you're a paid client, just send in an email to sales@wildapricot.com, and let's see, let's start a conversation there. Nikki will most likely be the one to respond to you, and then we'll pick it up from there. Not a problem, Audrey. Yeah, sure thing. Um, I'm looking to transform to a transition to Wild Apricot. How long do you estimate it takes to transfer member and website data? Desiree, thank you. Good question. You're able to transfer almost all of it, so depends on which data you want to transfer. If it's just member and website data is basically just copying content. You can't really there's really no way to easily like import websites into a different platform. I would say there's two ways of doing the website bit. You can embed Wild Apricot functionality into your current website if you like and keep your current website, but there's a loss there because we host your entire account on AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. It is one of the best services you can get to like host your site, but you have access to it for free if you're a paid user of Wild Apricot. So might as well use it, right? So in that process, if you want to rebuild your site, or maybe your old site is old, I mean, you want a brand new site, and this is a self-service platform, and you should be able to build out a totally professional looking site all by yourself. So might as well use it. So that website building process, depending on your needs, I've seen people do it in a couple of hours. I've seen people take a couple of weeks, but it's not months and months and months. It's an easy process. You have your coaches. I am one of those. I don't just paste links into chat boxes here. I am I'm part of the coaches team here. So when you're in trial, we help you through that process. And if you're a paid user already, Desiree, you have access to the tech support department, unlimited access. You can call as many times as you want. That's not a problem at all. And the member data, depending on how it lives, if it lives on a different platform and you have to export it out and then import it in, or if it's in a spreadsheet, depending on how long it takes for you to like collate that information, the actual process of importing, depending on your list. If it's a list of 500 people or 1,000 people, a couple of minutes. If it's a list of 50,000 people, then maybe a little longer. Maybe I think the test results were up to 16 minutes. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna say that's a little misleading because my preference is you set up your custom fields first, which you have access to unlimited customizable fields. You can have as many fields, as many questions as you like on your forms, on your for your members or other needs, event signups, or so on and so forth. And I do also like you to have your membership levels set before you import everything. So I'm going to say going through that entire process, if you are able to put in the time, maybe I'm going to say you're going to have 20 customized fields and 5 membership levels. Based on those numbers, you can have a database of 2,000 people imported within an hour to 2 hours with our help, guidance, and the help site, and reading through everything. So you don't have to like put your head down and do it all at once. You can take breaks and so on and so forth. Just do it over days and stuff. That's what most people do. Most people take a week or 2 weeks to get everything done and ready. Keep talking to us on the product. We are in the chat box on the bottom right corner, so keep asking us questions as you're doing it. And best of luck. Does your software sync with QuickBooks and Constant Contact? Karina, this is a good question. You don't have to like, first thing I'm going to say is it doesn't sync with Constant Contact, but uh, the core functionality of Constant Contact is already in Wild Apricot. So Wild Apricot is a comprehensive membership management platform. So we hope to empower you to use less products and spend less money and um, try to keep everything in one place so you can learn one platform, do everything together from one place. So the emailing stuff is already in Wild Apricot. So if you're going to be paying, and it's a one pricing for all features. So you have online store, you have events, you have emailing, you have membership management, you have automatic renewals, you have website editor, you have all of these things at your fingertips. So I'm going to say try the platform first and see if we can our emailing module can do everything that you need it to do. You have things like email log. You can track some behavior of the emails, how many people receive the emails, how many people open the emails, how many people clicked on something in the email, which link they clicked on, which of them didn't see the email or didn't get delivered to them. You can weed out those things. Try and take a dive into it and see if it suffices your needs, and maybe then we can have a further conversation about that part of it. But QuickBooks is a quick yes. It doesn't sync, so it's not a hard integration, it's a soft integration. So you would have to export your data, your finances and stuff out into QuickBooks format, and then you can import it into QuickBooks after that. So I hope that answers your question. um, Corina. So let's see. Will Personify work with a very small NPO, less than 200 members? Bill, honest, quick answer is I don't know. I'm gonna say I'm gonna ask you an alternate question. Maybe you can answer here, or you can answer if you get in touch with us. Does Wild Apricot work for you? That because this is mostly Wild Apricot is what is meant for small organizations, not for profits, mid-sized organizations, so on and so forth. So anywhere from 0 to 50,000, sometimes depending on your usage, 60,000 contacts is where Wild Apricot exists. So depending on your needs, you may be the perfect fit for a Wild Apricot or not, depending on what it is. So Personify 360 is the other product in the Personify lineup, which is meant for like much larger organizations, millions and millions of members and contacts, and so on and so forth. So get in touch with us, start a trial, and we will try and see what your needs are, and we'll have a candid conversation one-on-one. Okay. Oh, you're very welcome, Bill. No problem. So let's see. Does your software I believe we've gone through most of the things that I wanted to go through. I had taken a few notes, and during answering those questions, I've kind of addressed them. Amy did such a terrific job. Today's Q&A session, hers and the product part was both great. So thank you all for sticking around for both sections of the Q&A. Please jump in on the Facebook group. I've posted it in the chat before, and go and take part in the conversation after the webinar. And hope to see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for coming for the rest of the week. And please keep coming back for our other expert webinars and other resources that we have on the Academy. And we have somewhere from sometimes one webinar a week to maybe some weeks we have two. Sign up and keep learning from us, and let us know what your needs are so we can learn from you. And this has been great. It's always exciting for me to sit around at the end and do these things. So thank you for sticking around again, and signing off from Toronto. Cheers. Bye-bye.